Hello, and welcome to tonight's Vicki and Carl Zeiger Virtual Insight Seminar. I'm Justin Waldman, Associate Artistic Director at the Old Globe, and on behalf of Barry Edelstein, our Erna Finci Viterbi Artistic Director, and Tim Shields, our Audrey S. Geisel Managing Director, I'm so glad you can join us tonight for an amazing chat with the incredible writer and actor, Michael Genet. I'm coming to you from the ancestral home of the Kumeyaay, who have been the stewards of these lands for generations. Before we get started, I'd like to take a second to recognize the people who have made this event possible. A massive thank you to Vicki and Carl Zeiger for their generous support of the Vicki and Carl Zeiger Virtual Insight Seminars. And a special thank you to Joanne Kilty, for her support of me in my role as host. The Globe and I are so grateful to all of you. So if you'd like to enjoy more of these conversations with Globe artists, please consider making a gift to our Globe Rising campaign. Your support will sustain us until we can open our doors once again, which seems to be on the horizon and much closer than we thought a couple days ago. This round of Virtual Insight Seminars is being focused on the Globe's production of Hamlet on the radio and the incredible artists that are bringing it to life, like Michael Genet. Michael and I are going to talk for about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll open it up to the floor for questions. Well, that's it for me. That's my spiel. So now let's welcome our incredible guest, Michael Genet. Michael, please make your magical entrance into the Zoom interview squares.
Well, my video is out. Is it in now?
Are you here? I can hear you. I don't see you. Wait. Here we are.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Yay.
How you doing?
We did it.
Yeah, my bad.
We connected in 20 seconds. It was perfect.
Okay, good.
How are you, sir? It's nice to see you.
I'm well, sir. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's such a pleasure to see you. Where are you coming to us from tonight?
I am in the heart of Midtown Manhattan, 2 blocks from where the ball drops on New Year's Eve.
Oh my God. What's it like there?
You can tell that people are really ready to bust out and the streets are starting to get a little more packed, but all in all, it's still a ghost town, man. I mean, Broadway is still totally shut down, and that's a sad sight, So we're not back yet. We're not back yet.
Well, it seems like things are percolating, right? There was the pop-up thing, and things are starting. People are talking, and I think it feels like we're on a journey towards something rather than into the hole, right?
Yes, we're all so ready. We want this nightmare to be over once and for all.
Well, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and certainly you are a big part of that light, Michael Genet.
I hope so.
I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, so let's tell everybody about the amazing things that you've done in your long and storied career, which is awesome.
Okay. I'm going to leave you, and you let me know when you're done.
I'll give you a text. I'll ping you.
Okay.
Michael is both an accomplished actor and writer. At the Globe, he has appeared in Blues for an Alabama Sky and in Hamlet in 2017. He's reprising his role as Ghost, Player King, and Gravedigger in our Hamlet on the Radio. He also appeared in The Tempest at the LA Philharmonic that Barry directed, so that's kind of Globe adjacent for us as well. He's appeared on Broadway many times in both musicals and plays. Musicals like Wicked, Lestat, and The Prom, and plays like Choir Boy, Fences, Hamlet, and the world premiere of A Few Good Men. He's acted in plays all around the country and amazing theaters like the Public, the McCarter, Second Stage, Playwrights Horizons, Arena Stage, Trinity Rep, and basically everything else in between. Baltimore Center Stage, some amazing places. His film and TV work includes 25th Hour, One Fine Day, Law and Order, Ugly Betty, Bull, Blue Bloods, The Americans, New York Undercover, and he did 6 years on As the World Turns. Michael is also an acclaimed radio broadcaster, as he says, the velvet voice of AM quiet sound in Washington, D.C. And it's an apt nomer, right? Michael is also an award-winning writer. He's penned several films like Talk to Me for Focus Features, Hallelujah for the American Playhouse, and She Hate Me for Sony Pictures Classic, which was directed by Spike Lee, none other than Spike himself. He has an upcoming film based on a short story by Joanne Harris, who wrote Chocolat. Michael has won the 2008 NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Writing in a motion picture for his work on Talk to Me. It was nominated for a BET Comedy Award for She Hate Me. As a playwright, he was a Eugene O'Neill Playwright selectee, a winner of the Kennedy Center Award and for New American Plays, and a Sundance selectee. He's also a novelist. He's penned a book called They Must Not Know Who I Think I Am, Lessons in Defiant Resilience. And he's working on a new TV show. He trained at Carnegie Mellon, Cal Arts, and Juilliard, and he is a prince of a man and an amazing, amazing man of the theater and a man of the arts. So everybody, there would be a large round of applause for Michael Genet, should we be not just me.
Thank you. The check's in the mail. Thank you, sir.
I am nothing if not a hype man, Michael.
You're a good one.
My son takes after me. All he does is be like, you're great. And I'm like, you're doing good, Ben.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, look, one of the great joys of doing this series has been not only to be able to talk with some amazing friends, but also get to learn more about them by doing background to get ready for these interviews. And right. I have to admit my lack of knowledge about your writing career. I know you as an amazing actor, but I was so impressed and just overjoyed to find out about your great success as a writer. And I'd love to start talking about that, if that's okay with you.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So what got you started as a writer? Where did that talent burgeon for you?
Well, I didn't do the traditional thing where if you had asked me even a week before I literally started writing that I was going to end up being a writer, I would have laughed at you because it was never something that was on my radar. I was always an actor in my heart. But I was doing a play at up in Rochester, this new Tom Bay play with the wonderful Margaret Coleman. You would remember Margaret from Independence Day with Will Smith, and it was her first play. But while we were doing this play, it was called Planet Fires. And it was a world premiere. And while we were doing this, everyone kept coming up to me and saying, Michael, there's this guy you got to meet him. And I said, who are you talking about? He said, this guy, August Wilson, you got to meet him, man. He's hot. He's got the new show, Ma Rainey's Black Bottoms, it just opened up on Broadway, and he's got this new thing that's about to open up, Fences, and you got to meet him. So I got August's number down at Yale because they were doing Fences at Yale before they went to Broadway, right? So I got August's number somehow. I got somebody to give me his number, and I called August.
Those are good digits.
I called August 3 weeks straight, every day. And I let the phone ring on average 25, 27 rings. And he never picked up. And I said, this is ridiculous. So I said, I'm gonna call him one more time and just, and I called him one more time because our show was about to close. And they were about to open. I said, I'm gonna call him one more time. I called him and I counted. I was on the 27th ring. I was just about to go. And he picked somebody, hello? And it was August. And I said, Mr. Wilson, you don't know me, but I'm Michael Genet. I'm up here doing a play with one of your colleagues, Tom Babe, and we close on your opening night. But if you don't mind, I'm gonna get on the train right after we close. I'm gonna come down to Yale. I'm gonna see your show, see Fences, and I'd like to just say hello after. He said, yeah, man, come on down. Come on, we'll come on backstage and and I'm sure he didn't think that I was gonna do it, but I got third row center seats. James Earl Jones spit on me on one of his monologues. It was glorious. And I went backstage and met up with August, and we went over to a restaurant and we talked for 3 hours.
Wow.
And August sat there and recited for me word for word, line for line, his very next play, which was Joe Turner's Come and Gone. And then after he did it, after he finished, and it was so loud in this place, I couldn't understand him every half of what he was saying, but I didn't interrupt him because, it's August Wilson, let him talk. So at the end of it, he says to me, so what do you want to do? And big question, I didn't know. I said, well, I heard about this place called the Eugene O'Neill Playwrights Conference, and I heard that anybody who's everybody goes there. I said, I don't know, one day I'd like to be able to go there. And he said to me, well, Michael, somebody's always watching. And then 3 months later, I got a call, and I had no connections. I got a call from the O'Neill asking me to come be a part of the O'Neill. And I knew August was the one to put my name in the hat. And so I was at the O'Neill for the next 9 seasons, learning from August Wilson and John Patrick Shanley and all these people. And so it lit the fire in me. So when I got A Few Good Men with Aaron Sorkin on Broadway, it was my first Broadway show. In between my scenes, I was still on the stairwell, and I just had my first baby. My daughter was like a year old. And I would sketch on a little notepad, some idea I had, and I go in, get in the closet at 5 o'clock in the morning the next day, every day, so I didn't wake them up, let the baby sleep. It was a little walk-in closet. And I would write until 6:30. I had to be at the theater at 7:30 for a half hour. And when I was done, 8 weeks later, I had my first piece called Pork Pie, which got selected to Sundance. I got hired by American Playhouse to write this movie, Hallelujah. And next thing you know, and I ended up getting hired by Harry Belafonte to write a movie for him. And so I had a writing career. That's how it happened.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I mean, just the idea of being an August presence for 3 hours is just like.
Oh, he was, the being with August and I, one time we were at the O'Neill, and the O'Neill used to, and I don't know if they still do, they used to house you. So I'm there with Frances McDormand, Courtney Vance, Delroy Lindow, Anjee Bassett. We were all there together, right?
Yeah.
And one night I had to go to the bathroom, and it's a dormitory. It was a junior college. Mitchell College was a junior college. So I went to the men's room bathroom on our floor, and I'm coming down the hall. August coming down the opposite end, and we met at the bathroom door. And we stood in the doorway, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. By the time we were finished talking, it was 3:30, and we hadn't even gone to the bathroom yet. We had just talked about writing, and he told me all these just amazing gems. And I asked him, I said, well, what are you trying to be? You trying to be the best writer? He said, no, I don't want to be the best writer. He said, I want to be the best writer who will ever be. And when he said that, I fell against the door, because it was, who says that? I want to be the best writer who will ever be. But when he said that, it opened up my mind, and I realized, well, if he can say that, then at least I can aspire to something close to that. I mean, he just gave me so much stuff, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a mentor and a half. That is unbelievable.
He was an amazing man.
So how did you transition from you working in plays to film?
You mean as a writer or as a net?
As a writer.
Well, when I sat down to write, the first thing I wrote turned out to be Pork Pie. When I was writing Pork Pie because my daughter had just been born. I was writing Pork Pie, literally the first draft I wrote on the floor of my bathroom, because we had a studio apartment. I was writing on the floor I was writing longhand, because I didn't even have a typewriter at that time. But as I was writing this thing as a play, I kept getting these visions in my head. And so I called the wonderful writer, Richard Dresser. He's and he's an award-winning writer, and he's an O'Neill playwright. And I called him and said, Rick, I'm writing this thing, man, but I keep seeing these visions. And Rick said to me, Michael, it's telling you that it's not a play, it's a movie. I said, Rick, a movie? I don't know anything about writing a movie. And he told me a few things I needed to do. And he said that right there opened up the door. And the next thing I know, I had a screenplay that got selected to Sundance.
That's unbelievable. It's so cool. And so what kind of stories have you been attracted to as a writer?
Most of the stuff that I write, for the most part, Talk to Me notwithstanding, always has a bent of magical realism within it. I mean, I've always believed, and maybe it's the child within me that still exists, thank God, that there's magic in every moment, even in the midst of all the real stuff that we got to go through on a day-to-day basis. And so when I sit down and a story comes to me, generally speaking, it will come with a bit of magical realism attached to it. So that's kind of, Talk to Me was and She Hate Me Too was a very real, those were things that were specific. I had to write that, with Spike and for Spike. And the Talk to Me thing, it was a story about my father. So those were, but everything else, Pork Pie is magical realism. Most of the stuff that I have has a magical realism bent to it. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you talk to Me, because I wanted to, I'm going to start sharing some screen here. And this is the poster of Talk to Me.
Look at that. Yeah.
Looking good. That is a good poster.
Great poster. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about this? Because this is about your family and your father, and specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chiwetel Ejiofor character, the character that Chiwetel Ejiofor plays in Talk to Me is my father in real life. My father was he's still with us. He's actually out there. He lives in Venice Beach. he was a producer, radio producer, and then he ended up being a TV producer. And he's like a 10-time Emmy winner, and but early in his career, he was working at this radio station called WOL. It's an iconic radio station in Washington, D.C. And my uncle, his brother, was in prison, and at that time, and he would go to see him periodically in prison. And there was this guy, when he walked in, this inmate, that was playing this incredible music, like a DJ throughout the prison. And he was like, "Who the heck is?" I mean, this music was banging. And they said, "This is guy P.D. Green." And then P.D. Green walks in with this prison outfit on, but he had on this brand new, clean, spanking, polished pair of alligator shoes on with his prison outfit. And he asked my father for a job. My father said, "Man, what are you talking about?" And my father said, "I can't, you're a convict." He said, and PD just kept, "I just need a job, man. I want a job." But my father said, "Fine, okay, fine. When do you get out?" Thinking he's going to say, like, "I get out next month." PD said, 10 years. But 6 months later, PD showed up at WL's door. And my father put him on the air against everyone else's wishes. And my father was like his engineer, his producer and engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And they became the #1 morning show in all of Washington, D.C. on the radio for like the next 10 years. And then when Dr. King was assassinated and the riots exploded in Washington, D.C. and all the other major cities, my father and PD went on the air that night. And because of their broadcast, PD going on the air with my father engineering, it calmed the riots down in Washington, D.C. and it saved a lot of the store chains. And one chain was this chain of grocery stores called Giant Foods,
Mm-hmm.
a white owner. And he was so grateful that they calmed the riot down and saved the stores from being burned, that he put up the money and gave them their own local TV show, which became the #1 rated local TV show in Washington for the next 25 years. They won like 10 Emmys from this thing.
That is amazing. That is an incredible story. I mean, it's a great movie. It's a great movie plot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So but your family has a long history in radio. Yeah.
Yeah, radio. But then my father, my father ended up marrying Kathy Hughes, who is now, the founder, owner, CEO of Radio One and now TV One, and probably have it on your cable channel. So, but he and Kathy are no longer together, but we've all stayed close as a family. So, and I was brought in, to learn the family business right after I got out of school, and I was a DJ. I was the voice of the AM Quiet Storm. I was a janitor. I was a receptionist. I was a receptionist at WL. One day I was a receptionist at WL, and I just swear to goodness, man, I'm not kidding you. And we were doing like a lot of interviews, talk. We were trying to move it over to an all talk format at that moment in time. And who walked through the door to do an interview segment? Sid Charisse. Sid walked into a all-black radio station to do a segment, and she walks past me, and I'm sitting, and she was luminous. She was just, oh my God, she was just, and I don't even know if anybody else in the station realized who really she was. I knew, and I was doing everything in my power to be cool, but this was Sid Charisse walking in, and she looked like $10 million. She was just, oh, she was amazing.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's amazing. That's just incredible. It's incredible to be like rubbing those elbows, right?
Yeah. Well, man. Oh, that was like, just one of those moments that just I'm standing next to Sid Charisse.
I remember that for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of rubbing elbows, this movie, She Hate Me, that you do with Spike Lee. So like so you were in 25th Hour, and is that as an actor, and that's where you met Spike? Is that how you guys got connected?
I had gotten cast at 25th Hour, but Spike and I, it turns out, we both had the same literary agent. We were both with William Morris Literary. And we didn't know that at the time that we had the same agent, but when our agent found out that I was in 25th Hour and he was directing it, and she was in love with my script, Pork Pie, she put us together. And Spike said he liked pork pie, but he didn't want to direct pork pie. But he said, that's not my thing. It was again another magical realism type thing. That's not Spike's thing. He said, that's not my thing. He said, but this is the story I'm interested in doing. I said, what's that? Now I'm sitting on this little hasset in his office. So he's in the desk. He's up here like this, and I'm on the floor like this. And I said, so what's your story? And this is what came out of his mouth. Swear to God. Lesbians who want to become mothers are using turkey bases to get pregnant. And my mouth dropped open. I went, and then he said, I don't know what the story is, but that's what I'm interested in. And I quickly thought to myself, okay, get it together. Spike Lee has just opened the door for you to write a movie for him. Say something. So I said to Spike, give me a week and I'll give you a story. So every day on set, we would be shooting and he'd call cut. I say, Spike, come here. And I would rattle off a couple ideas that I had for the film. And I said, this is what happens then. Boom, this happens. He said, oh man, and I didn't think he was gonna like anything that I was coming up with, right? And it was a time when M-Clone was happening. Martha, what's her name? Martha.
The Sheep, right?
Martha Stewart, is that her name?
Oh yeah, Martha Stewart, yeah.
Yeah, she was getting ready to go to jail for insider trading. All this was happening, right? So I was like, this happens. And he said, oh man, that's great. Give me some more. I said, I don't have any more. Wait till tomorrow. We're on set. Action. Cut. Spike, come here. And this is what happens. I did this for 3 days straight. And after he said, oh man, that's great. Give me some more. I said, I don't have, that's all I got. He said, cool. Write the film. I said, excuse me? No, he said, write the treatment. I said, what? He wanted me to write the treatment. So I wrote the treatment in 3 days. I wrote him a 15-page treatment. I gave it to him on set. He called lunch early. We were shooting in Brooklyn we went down on the sidewalk on the streets of Brooklyn. He read the treatment in front of me, which I have to tell you was raking me over the coals. He's sitting to my left, I'm sitting to his right, and I couldn't even look at him. I had to turn like this. And I hear these pages going flip, flip, flip. And when he finished, he turns to me and said, cool, write the script. And I was like, whoa. And I kid you not, we wrapped that film. Philip Seymour Hoffman did the last scene in Central Park, like September 25th. Was still summer, it was hot. And I was there for that. I was on set watching. We wrapped the September 25th. A year later, I gave him the script a year later, right before the day before Thanksgiving, and we were on set like 4 months later shooting this bad boy. It does not happen. Spike Lee's the only person I know that can make it happen like that.
That is power to make something move that fast.
I mean, he just.
Oh my God.
Then to put the cast together, I mean, Kerry Washington, and it was Anthony Mackie's.
That's like his first movie out of Juilliard, right?
Well,
like
it was that coincided with 8 Mile, but this was his first starring role. Yeah.
Oh my God. I
mean, and we were sitting there with Brian Dennehy. I mean, it was crazy, man. Woody Harrelson. I mean,
the casts in the movies that you have written. I mean, Anthony Mackie, the new Captain America, right? Yeah. Ellen Barkin, Don Cheadle, Chiwetel, John Turturro,
great.
Taraji P. Henson, you're in the movie, James Earl Jones. Oh my God, it's like every actor that I always have wanted to work with my entire career. You're like
Jim Brown, the great Jim Brown played our father, man. And Jim Brown was almost 70 years old when we shot this, and he came to the set in a sleeveless tank top and some shorts, and the dude looked like Adonis at 70 years old.
Oh, and you're the greatest football player.
Oh my God. And we were sitting down for lunch and we were just talking, and he was talking about something, and I laughed at something he said. And he looked at me like, are you laughing at me or are you laughing with me? And I got scared because I thought he was going to kick my butt. Then he realized that I was laughing with him, and it was okay. I was thinking, because you don't want to make Jim mad,
No, do not piss off Jim Brown.
Yeah, right. So,
that is a life rule.
Yeah, it was great, man. It was great.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I'm sorry to move on, but I want to talk a little bit about your book, because it's about the instability of being an artist, yeah. And I mean, like, how much more topical could it be now than when you wrote it. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I have to start by saying, unfortunately, the book is not available any longer, but the book was really, really well received. My then business partner kept hounding me. She said, Michael, you got all these great stories. You need to put this down, because her example was the fact that she came from the corporate side, where changes in people's lives, when people lose their jobs or some difficulty befalls their lives, they freak out because they're not used to the upheaval.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, people in the arts, everything we do is a temp gig, you know? So we're used to, okay, I got this great gig, but I know it's going to be over in 3 months or 6 months, or even if I'm on Broadway, the Broadway show is going to end eventually. So we're always used to rolling with those punches. So I wrote this book with those stories that I had accumulated over all this time being in the industry, of how you get knocked down, how you get told no 1,000,000 times in this industry in just 1 week, but you still find a way to keep getting up and trying to climb the mountain the next day. And it was really, really critically well received, and it did really, really well, you know, but it's not available any longer. I apologize for that. Sorry.
No, I mean, no, bother. I mean, I wish we could get it back. I mean, we're gonna get a PDF or something and share it surreptitiously.
I'm working on a new book now, so we'll get that out when it's done.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. So I want to move a little bit into your acting career. This is you and Wicked, right here.
Yeah. That costume weighed about 40 pounds. Trust me.
That is a lot of fur.
I love that guy. I love that role. That was a great show. Yeah.
So how did you get it? How did I love asking everybody this question because it's fascinating to me. It's like, how did you get the acting bug?
I think I knew that I wanted to be an actor when I was about 11 years old. It hit me, and I realized I did this, school play in the 4th grade, which means I was 8, 9. And there was something about being on that stage. I realized that, oh, I like this. And my father, we have had a distant relationship at times, because my mother and my father had split by the time I was 5, so he really wasn't there a lot. But being in the industry, he was trying to steer me away from it. He's telling me all the difficulties and why, you should pick something else. But it was something that I gravitated to, and I realized that I had a thing for. I had the ability to make some magic with. So I kind of learned and figured that out early on. Now, early on, seriously, honestly, I started out to become an opera singer. I was studying to be an opera singer, and had this wonderful baritone, and I was going to pursue a career in opera. But I got to the point where I realized I didn't appreciate this, because opera applause is like this. And I wanted the whoo, 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 whoo. So I started concentrating more. I set the opera aside, and I started training my voice to do jazz riffs. And I ended up getting the Smithsonian Institute did this jazz series. And they did it with the great Keter Betts. Keter Betts was Ella Fitzgerald's bass player for like 25 years. And they hired his trio to do this jazz series. Mm-hmm. And he wanted a singer. And they called in a few guys. And I was like 20 years old at the time. And I went in and they hired me. And we did this jazz series for like 3 months. And I sang with Keter Betts, Ella's bassist, Harold Mann, who was Lionel Hampton's drummer, and I forgot the keyboardist who played with George Benson. So I learned more in 3 months being with these guys doing this jazz series than I had learned in 10 years trying to be a businessman. That I kind of knew early on that I wanted to do this.
That's incredible. It's amazing to be just like in that apprenticeship nature of theater, right? It's like in the arts, like get in a room with people that are incredible. And
you're talking about being in a room. I would go over to Keter's house, and Keter was an old fight fan, so he had this Super 8 movie camera down in his basement, and we'd be down in the basement, and Sarah Vaughan and Joe Williams, because they were in town doing a show, a gig at the Blues Alley, they would come over to his house for leftovers. So we'd be in the basement, and I'm watching Sarah Vaughan, Joe Williams, Keter, and they got a fight film of Sugar Ray Robinson on, and they're just talking music and talking downbeats and all, and I'm sitting in the corner just listening. I'm not saying a word. I'm just listening, drinking it all in, man.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Oh my God. It's like the greatest moment. Those are the moments that are just imprinted on your brain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
They came over for leftovers. They came over for leftovers.
Oh my God. Legends are people too.
Right.
Yeah. So your Broadway career has been fantastic, but also like so varied. Like you've done Wicked, you've done musicals from Wicked to Fences, from The Prom to A Few Good Men. Like they're like not even musical play. They're just like so different in genre and tone. Like, how do you as an actor move between such varied material?
Well, it was kind of dictated that way for me. It was weird. Somehow, and I don't know how, I don't know why it happened, but early in my career here in New York, for some reason, the industry forgot that I sang. And especially once I started writing and I had a couple of films produced, then I would be going to auditions, and I'd be going to audition for a musical, or I'd be going to audition for plays. And the casting director would come out and say, Mike, hey man, what you writing on now? Now I'm there to audition for this show. But they want to know about what I'm writing. But they forgot that I sang. And so I wasn't being called in for anything musical for like 20 years. I got nothing. After I did Ain't Misbehaving on the Road, I got nothing. I went up for the Cole House in whatever that musical was. And I got 6 callbacks with that. I had 6 callbacks with Michael Genet for Dreamgirls. They held me on for like 3 months. And then at the end, they gave my role to David Allen Greer because he had already been in the show. So by that time I was too broke to get back out to LA. So I stayed on the East Coast. But the industry, after that, the industry just forgot that I sang, and I just kept getting cast in plays after plays after plays and TV or whatever. And it's only till over the last 10 years that the industry said, oh, that's right, Genet sings. No, actually, because the role in Lestat, that was the one role that didn't sing. And they wrote it that way. And I said, but I sing. They said, no, but we want this one role. And it was the second largest character in her entire vampire canon, because I played Marius. Yeah. But they wanted Marius not to sing. And I was like, are you kidding me? I can do this great musical and I don't get to sing. So, so
from opera singer to jazz to we forgot that you sing.
And that they forgot I sang. They forgot I sang.
Oh my God. Well, it's good to know now.
And then Wicked came along, and then the floodgates opened up.
Oh my God. Well, it's amazing. I am so jealous of people that can sing, and it's such a. I remember many years ago, like when I first started, I was like, musicals, whatever. And friends of mine, Christopher Fitzgerald and Jessica Stone were doing a show with us at the Huntington, and they were like, "No, dude, everyone's got to learn to sing. Even if like you just feel like if you're not good at it, just learn to do it, because like you'll never know when it'll come along when you need to like carry a tune for something." Right. And exactly. I was like, store that nugget away, and now I tell that to students all the time. It's like just be comfortable enough to just pull something out, because you never know. Yeah. But if you're truly good at it, like you are, sir, it's an amazing thing. I want to move on to Hamlet a little bit and talk about the topic at hand. Yeah. So what was your role, or should I say roles, in the show?
Well, I was the ghost of Hamlet's father. I was the player king, and then I was the gravedigger in this production. Yeah. And early in my career, I had done Hamlet on Broadway, where I was Horatio, and I did that with Stephen Lang, who you remember in Avatar. He was the evil colonel in Avatar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The great Elizabeth McGovern from Downton Abbey, and Jamie Cromwell. Again, another incredible cast. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the thing about that production, when we were in rehearsal for Hamlet for Broadway, we were in rehearsal. Jelly's Last Jam was right across the hall from us with Gregory Hines, and Streetcar Named Desire with Alec Baldwin and Jessica Lange was right below us. So we'd be in rehearsal, and Steve Lang would be going, "Speak the speech, I pray you," and we'd hear Alec Baldwin below us saying, "Stella, Stella." We would all just crack up. It was happening all the time.
Stop bothering me, Baldwin. I'm working here. So I love this idea of a triple that Barry concocted and you brought to life. Like, so why do you think these three roles are linked together?
You know, that's a great question, and I do not have a great answer for that. I don't, because as an actor, I did not approach it that way. I approached each one separately, because that was the only way that I could dig deep enough to find the gold that lied within each character and the verse that they had to say. If I had consciously thought of, you know, the intellectual aspect of trying to link all three and what they intrinsically mean to each other, I'd have been toast. You know, none of them would have worked. So I'm sure that a classical scholar will be able to give you a really fine answer to that. For me as the artist, it was my job to make sure that, okay, when I'm the ghost, I'm trying to find every bit of nuance in every line that I can. You know, there was a moment on Oprah with Whitney Houston, and they had the cast of Waiting to Exhale. So Anjee Bassett and all them, and it was Whitney Houston's first foray into acting, and Oprah was asking her, what's it like to get into this thing versus music? And Whitney said something that was so profound that I almost fell out of my chair. She said, I'm trying to be like Anjee Bassett. And Oprah said, what do you mean? She said, why? Why would you want to be that like Anjee? And Whitney said, because she can bend the line the way I bend the note. And my head almost exploded and that's what I was trying to do with each and every one of those roles. I was trying to find a way to bend the lines that I have so that I didn't leave anything on the table.
Yeah.
It was a tragedy for any actor, whether they know it or not, is if you finish up a performance and you didn't get every ounce out of what was on that page to come out of your mouth. I love that idea of bending the line. That's amazing. She can bend the line the way I bend the note. I was like, oh my God.
So how do you approach, using that idea, how do you approach each of the different three characters differently? Like, was there a different way in for you for each of these different gentlemen?
There's, generally speaking, I mean, I'm coming at it from an eclectic group of different directions. You hear sounds on the street, like when a truck runs over a manhole cover, or you see an elderly person walk, or how they sit down when they taking a seat on the subway, or you hear two people arguing on a street corner. You put those in your head and you file them away, and somehow, when you get a chance to do a role or multiple roles like this, those things that you filed away in your computer chip in your head, they serve as rhythm boards for you jumping off and being able to find the rhythm for the ghost, the rhythm for the player king. And the player king's language was really, really difficult. And one of the most iconic scenes in all of Shakespeare, the Gravedigger stuff. So, so holding up Yorick's skull, I mean, that's kind of been my approach,
That's cool. I love that idea of like everyone has a different rhythm. Like
everyone absolutely does. And everything that I do, when I write, everything that I write, every line has a rhythm. So I get the iambic pentameter because it's the dot. Everything that I don't leave a line on the page unless the rhythm is right. I don't leave a line on the stage or on the screen unless it's coming out of my mouth and the rhythm is right.
That's super cool. And speaking of super cool, so like you had the coolest costumes in the history of costumes.
I did.
I mean, like we see you as the ghost here. You are Tron.
Oh baby. I was lit, right?
Dude, literally.
Fiber optics, man.
That is so cool. What was it like wearing that? Were you like invincible? Did you want to like walk through walls?
No, I was careful is what I was. I was trying not to break it. You know, I was afraid to sit down backstage. I was, I just didn't want to break it.
Oh man, but like they had like charge you up, and then like the board operated you.
I had like 8 battery packs stuck throughout literally, seriously. I mean, that's no exaggeration. I had like 8 different battery packs stuck all through the costume. I'm saying these costumes weighed a ton, man.
Yeah, and this wasn't even the heaviest one.
That was not even the heaviest.
It was this guy, right?
That costume right there must have weighed 40 pounds. Because
Why was it so heavy?
This is all leather. I mean, real leather from like 1600 something. And it was the balloon sleeves. It was I was having back problems. I didn't tell anybody, but my back was getting jacked from just wearing that thing, man.
Oh my God. And that was the one where you had to be the most spry.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The Tron, you could move slowly as it goes. I got to jump around.
And the Gravedigger too, because I mean, the Gravedigger, I had to lift the floorboard up. Mm-hmm. You had to be in shape to be in this show. You couldn't be soft being in this show.
No, it was a workout every night.
It was a workout.
And you had a 16-foot statue of yourself on stage too. Gold statue of yourself.
I have that here in my bedroom too. He goes with me wherever I go. People look at me on the street.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't have that?
Yeah, I got my own theme music too.
I wouldn't doubt it, actually. So you had I want to move to Hamlet on the radio for a second. As an old radio hand, was this like riding a bike for you as an old radio DJ? Did you have to like polish off the velvet pipes and?
Well, look, we had Cornell, and Cornell's like a voiceover king. So at best, I'm coming in a distant second or third. But it wasn't new for me. I didn't have to worry about finding my footing so much. When you're dealing with stuff that's technical, obviously there's certain things you got to be sure you try not to bite the mic. You want to give your voice as many different bits of color as you possibly can to make it sound enriching to the audience's ear. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, the bottom line is you're just trying to stay as honest and true to the text as possible. That's what it always boils down to. Yeah. What did Jack Lemmon say? Jack Lemmon said acting is saying a line and really meaning it. That's basically it in a nutshell. The thing is that we don't realize how hard that is to do.
Mm-hmm. Getting to the truth of the matter, just like getting away all the others, and just be honest, truthful. Yeah. But
Barry knows this because I've told him, but I'm gonna tell your audience again. And I think I said it at one of the talkbacks when we were doing Hamlet a couple of years ago at the Globe. But you all should truly appreciate what you have on your hands, because Barry Edelstein, in my humble opinion, is the finest classical director on the planet right now. And I mean, I'm not joking. I'm not playing games when I say that. I mean that sincerely. What he did with our full stage production of Hamlet, what he did with The Tempest at Disney Hall, and then what he's done to put this Zoom production together, that's maestro-esque, stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just being able, again, being in the room with that brain, right? I count myself lucky.
And I've worked with directors on the classics, man. And if you don't have one who knows his or her business, you're in a world of hurt. And it doesn't matter. And you can be really great, but your director is the one that's guiding the ship.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, so what I wanted to ask you was I realized I was going to ask how you transitioned from being on stage to on the radio, but I realized thinking back at the production, you spent very little actual time on the actual stage. You were either on scaffolding or on a stage on the stage, or in a pit in the stage.
I was still on stage. So. I know, I know what you're saying, but
But so what was it like? How do you have to rescore your performance to be in the medium of radio?
Well, it's like going from stage to television to film. It's like when I was doing the soap opera. Soap opera is bigger than film, but not as big as stage. And nobody can, there's not an actor on the planet, I don't care if Meryl Streep couldn't do it either, can go to a soap opera set and have, it's going to take you about 6 months to find that place. So this was basically the same thing, realizing, okay, this is not, we're doing Hamlet, but we can't do all the physicality even in our vocals that we did on stage. So we've got to tone it down enough, but we also have to be rich enough so that the intentions do come across the microphone and into our audience's ears. And for me, having played around with radio as a radio personality for a few years early in my career, I had already had my feet wet in that regard, I guess, a little bit.
One of the things that I think is so great about being able to come back to Hamlet and do it on the radio is that as theater practitioners, we very rarely get to come back to a play, revisit something that we've done in the past. And this is an awesome opportunity to do that. And did you learn anything new about the characters that you played, like after 4 years of being away from it when you came back? And is there anything that you wish you had been able to do now that you learned that you could have done outside?
That's a great question. And normally the answer would be yes, absolutely. The great director Lloyd Richards always said, and he would use Othello as his example, that an actor who plays Othello should do Othello 3 times: once when he's too young, once when he's perfect, and then once when he's too old. Coming back to this with the radio, however, because we're doing it Zoom and we're doing it for radio, I can only speak for myself. I was focused in on the text and the technical aspect of, getting that right for whatever Barry was feeling like the production needed. And of course, we were doing a lot of different things where we would say a line over, repeat it over. Oh, if we stumbled on a line, we'd stop, and while tape was still rolling, then we say the line again. So it's not quite the same experience as, so you didn't have that time to explore like that. You're trying to be honest with the text, but you also had to be technically proficient. For me, that's what I was concentrating on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fascinating. It's always like the ethereal nature of things, where it's like you get it, you do it, and then it's gone. And like how rare is a return engagement of the entire company?
That was great, man. That was great. It's great to see everybody. It's great to hear everybody's voices and have it come to life again. That brought back a lot of the memories, and it took you to that place where, oh, we're reliving this again. So in that regard, yeah, I was in it. We were reliving it, because I'm hearing, Opal say her words as the queen, and Grantham coming at you with, his beautiful lyricism with the words he's spitting out, and Cornell bursting forth with his, grandiosity and eloquence. So yeah, that was great. To relive that again, it was great.
Excellent. So let me move some questions from our audience. This is from our sponsor, Vicki Zeiger. If you could play any role on stage at the Globe, what part would it be?
Oh, well.
Ask yourself, Michael.
I don't know. I mean, it would be great to do something that hasn't been done before, but I don't know if you all did this play. I did it twice, but it would be great to do it at the Globe. There's a play called The Whipping Man. Did you all do The Whipping Man out there?
We premiered it, I believe. Matthew Lopez.
Oh, Matthew Lopez, great play. Yeah, I did it twice, and I would love to do that at the Globe. I would love to do that. I would love to do that outdoors at the Globe.
Yeah. Matthew's blown up, huh? The Inheritance and everything.
Yeah. But I mean, great. Yeah. But I would like to do a musical at the Globe, actually. You know, now that I'm back in vogue in musicals.
Now that people remember that you sing, I mean,
Yeah, you know, I'd like to do a musical at the Globe. You know,
that would be amazing.
yeah,
I would love to hear that baritone.
yeah, I'm kind of good there, brother.
So there's a question about like why there are a lot of actors who write, a lot of actors write. Why do you think that is? Is it because actors are storytellers and there's a different medium in which to do it, or
I can't answer for everybody. I can say the reason I sat down to write was at the time, my thinking was I needed to do something that gave me a greater handle on the direction of my career. I mean, when an actor walks into a room to audition for a play, television, film, whatever, there's somebody sitting behind a table or whatever, and that person or those persons have the power at that moment to tell you, yes, you get to act today, no, you don't get to act today. But when you make a choice to sit down and write something, nobody can tell you that you can't write today. You know, if you want to write today, you can do it. Now it's up to you to finish what you start. And if you're lucky and if you're fortunate and you have some skill and you have a voice, you may just be able to get across the finish line and get somebody interested and it may get a production or something. But you have the power to put your words on the page without anybody saying yes or no that you can do this today. And that's why I did it, because I was trying to get a greater handle on the direction of my career.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also like the greatest advice I think right now for young up and coming artists is like, just do it. You know, like so many people now, I know so many friends who have like, we started a web series that's now on TV, you know, like just trying to do something, put it out there, and like make something.
Well, you know, I tell people all the time when people come and ask me, a lot of times these young would-be writers or whatever, what's your advice about writing? I said the greatest advice I'm going to give you is to whatever you start, finish it. It doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Finish it. Writing will humble you, because I mean, if you think about it, there's only a certain type of person that can find the resilience inside to be able to sit at a computer or whatever for 4, 6, 8 hours a day straight. Okay, but writing will make the average person get up and say, "Oh, this is too hard. I quit," and they'll walk away. If you start something, if you start writing on something, finish it, and then worry about whether it's good. You can always go back and correct it and tweak it and whatever. But if you finish it, you've opened the door for you finishing anything else you try for the rest of your life. If you walk away from it, you've opened the door that you're going to quit on anything you try for the rest of your life.
That's
so
great.
Whatever you start, finish it.
That is great advice. Great advice. Is there? Have you ever wanted to direct too?
You know what? I would be. And I'm serious about this. Cinematically, especially, I would be a great director. I'm not sure that I have the drive to go get that or not. It would have to be a scenario where I can say, "Look, give me the shot," and they just give me the shot. Because I don't know that I want to dig to climb that. I would like to direct some of my stuff, but I've lobbied for it on a couple of my films. But you know, chances of them giving a first-time director the chair on a $15-20 million project are slim and none. Even though I would have been a better director than X, Y, or Z person. So if it happens, I will be really good at it. Okay, because I know how to tell a story. But I'm not sure that I'll ever get to that place. So right now I'm the writer. You know, We'll see.
Yeah. Is there what are you most looking forward to about returning to the stage and to theater after COVID?
You know what, man? I think just being able to be there with an audience and just be in that moment. I think about it all the time. You know how many times I have gone back and turned on Apple TV and watched the first act of Hamilton? Because Hamilton is the only live thing that we have, or that I have, that I can say, ooh, and I can watch that and watch these actors coming on and off the stage and hearing the audience respond. Oh my God. So just, I think about, because the last thing I did right before the pandemic hit was the prom. And it was such a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be able to relive that again, where you have an audience in the palm of your hands, and at the end of the show, they're waiting outside and they're telling you how you changed XYZ person's life because of the story that you told today. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for this happy day. It
Yeah.
seems like it's on the horizon. It seems like it's at the end of the tunnel, right? We're almost there. Well,
so.
I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave us with some very kind words from one of our board members, Nikki Clay, who is listening to Nancy Worley at KPBS today, who is partnering with us on Hamlet on the radio, and just reiterating how excited they are to partner with the Globe on this project, and how excited it is to have you back on our stage as it is in the moment right now. So. Michael Genet, it is an absolute pleasure to be able to spend some time and to hear your stories. You are an incredible guest and an incredible human being. So I thank you so passionately for your time.
Let me just say good night, Kathy.
Shout outs. I love it. All right. Well, I'd like to once again thank Vicki and Carl Zeiger for their support of these Insight seminars, and to Joanne Kilty for supporting my small part in this. A huge thank you to our philanthropy department, especially Haley Meyer and Matthew Lovegood, who do all the behind the scene work to make these things possible. I'd also like to encourage you that if you would like tonight's program, to visit our website and make a gift to our Globe Rising campaign. Our next Insight seminar will be in 2 weeks, and it'll be the final installment in this series about Hamlet on the radio. We'll be talking to our very own Erna Finci Viterbi, artistic director and the director of Hamlet on the radio. Say with me, Barry Edelstein. We're so excited. We get to hear from the man himself how this incredible production came to be, both on stage and on your radio. It's going to be a fascinating hour to be able to spend with the greatest classical director, according to Michael Genet, alive today, which I would concur with. So it's going to, please tune into that. Please mark your calendars for the premiere of Hamlet on the radio, which will be on April 23rd on KPBS. Also, please check out the Globe's website for more info on the show itself and all the incredible humanities programs that are going on around it. Especially take a look at coming up that week of the 23rd. We have a cool virtual walkthrough of our 2016 First Folio exhibit that was down at San Diego Central Library. You get to navigate around the exhibit itself. We put it back together with pictures from the exhibit. It's going to be really, really cool. So that's it for tonight. Thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you to Michael Genet. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and we will see you back in Balboa Park very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.